So the next question is government subsidized programs. Do you have government subsidized programs for students? Like in Japan, we have subsidized programs for transportation, health insurance too. So do you have such packages in France?
Yes, yes, we do. When you come into France for your studies, you can look for people called the assistance sociale.
Okay.
Okay. So the assistance sociale, there are people that help you to, to integrate your life, your daily life and stuff. And since you're a student, it's easier for you to get this assistance because you are in a school. So sometimes it will be the staff of your program. Maybe there's a particular staff or office, international students, their affairs. So they are the ones that are going to help you get things like your security social or security number. So that's the number that you use for going to the hospital. And going to the hospital or maybe any other thing that is covered by this insurance. But before there are a couple of insurances I paid for, but I don't really have them off heart now because I used them once. Maybe I paid for it 1 month, 2 months. And that was also in line with my visa. You understand? So I didn't even know what these things mean, what they cover. I don't even think I used them, So, but for the security number, it's important because with that one, for example, you go to the hospital and your charge is 50 euro and the security social covers maybe 50% or 80%. So you pay but it does cover a lot. Some people have gone to hospitals for free and the thing is that you may pay the money. In fact, you have to pay the money, but then it will be reverted to your account. So when you come into France, you need to open your bank account because when you're applying for these numbers, you need to give them your account, relève d'identité bancaire, yes, your RIBs and stuff. So not your RIB, but RIB, we call it RIB. So you have to give them these documents for reverting your funds. Then other government subsidized programs are things like transportation. Although I would say these are regional because mine, it has my region's logo and everything on the card that we were given. So I haven't tested that in other regions, but we do have transport cards. Some of these subsidies also have age bars to it. If you're above a certain age, you may not benefit, So there are some subsidies for transportation. If you're a student, maybe to use the train. I've not really benefited from one of the train. I didn't apply for it because it was quite a process. But I have friends who have the energy to fight tooth and nail, to fill the forms and wait for, yes. Then another subsidized program is for accommodation.
Okay.
So there's this thing called, I don't know if it's CFA or something.
CAF, CAF, CAF. I did my research.
The thing is, I've not applied for these things. You get? So this, and I wouldn't say it's a good thing. Neither I would say it's a bad thing. But I don't know how to, when it comes to funding, I'm like, I wish I have the money. So I'll just pay for this thing and rest. I don't know how to
money,
follow an office,
You have too much money.
No, I don't have money. It's just, that's why I said I don't know if I'll say it's a good thing or if it's a bad thing. But I know they are there, But maybe if I really needed cafe, nobody would send me. Like, I would just go, you understand? But
Yes.
the thing about CAF is that I think you need to have a job
Okay.
to get CAF, because you need to also, or you need to prove that you can pay the other half of the money. You understand? I think I have two friends who have told me they use CAF for their accommodation, and at the time they told me they did have jobs. You know, one was doing some cleaning job, one was doing some Uber driving jobs. So I think there are some clauses, but then at least the viewers can know that it exists. You know, you only need to ask or
Apply.
search for it. Yes. Some other benefits, subsidies, meals.
Oh, okay.
I benefited from this one. I benefited from this one, the meals. So there's this organization. I don't know if this happens all over France, but like I said, my region. Okay. So there's this organization in my school. We have days where we go to take food stuff. Okay. There's also the subsidies for the canteens, like going to eat at the canteen. But we were on lockdown when I came, so I didn't know how that works. You understand? So because the canteens were not open. So, but this was the one I was benefiting from because I didn't know how to eat in France. Honestly, I ate jollof rice for 3 months. Jollof rice was my.
Your savior.
And you even need to see my jollof rice. Like I'll use tomato, then all this red, green, blue bell pepper.
Okay.
And hey,
you weren't beautifying the rice.
I cannot. I was even taking pictures of my meal and showing them off online. Then I'm like, see what it's a prison food. So I really did have to benefit from that one. So when you go to this place, you have to show your ID card, your student card. You have to show that. Then you see all the things they have. I think this is one of the reasons why I like it here in France. I've not been to other parts of the world, so I don't know how it is. But at least to some extent, you won't really be hungry unless you have maybe your cravings, you know. But because there are times when I'll be coming into my hostel and then you see a big sack of potatoes. It's for who wants, you know.
Wow.
And you can take, yes, there are some placards, maybe cupboards in the lounge areas. Maybe I'm traveling and I have all these provisions in my cupboard and it may expire within the time I come back. So I put them there. It's for who wants. You understand? Nobody's controlling how much you take, but then if for the next person it's nice, you know. Yeah. So yeah, so it's that's one of the things I like. So I wouldn't say it's government subsidized, but then it's, you know, it's something depending on where you are. So, but for this organization that gives the food, they come maybe, I've forgotten the days, but 2 times a week. So you position yourself, you go with your sacks, and then you take things from green peas, you know, like all these canned things, coffee, tea, sardines, you know. You can take maybe 1 or 2, you know, they regulate it, but at least sometimes you go with 2 heavy bags, depending on what you eat. Yeah, so yeah, for transportation, for feeding, for health, yes, things like that are covered. I don't know. Then depending on your program too, if you're somebody that likes to see all these arts, museum stuff, there are also cards that are basically subsidized for students. They can view it for a stipend or free, you know. So it depends.
Okay, that's good. So my next question is the cost of living. I know there is no one solution or one fit for all, but what is the cost of living in your city, and which other cities are much cheaper than Paris and Lyon?
Okay. So the seniority in the cost of living by cities, let's start with the 5 large cities, of which I think maybe my city comes 6 or after the 5. So we have Paris, we have Marseille, we have Lyon, we have Toulouse. Bordeaux comes in this list. Before you see Dijon, There are other locations like Nantes, Bretagne, there's a couple of them.
Okay.
When you're talking about cost of living, it's relative because my city is supposedly small, but the difference between our rent and Paris is 100 euro, 50 euro,
Not
it's
so significant.
someone has told me, although I'm not sure of this, because when you're taking the train or when you look at the map, Dijon is like here, Lyon is here. I think Toulouse, Marseille are down here. Paris is like up here. So there's a train that goes from Paris down.
Okay.
So there are related cities by that route. You understand? So you find out that, okay, if somebody is coming from Paris, they could stop over at Dijon. It's a native telling me this. So they know their reasons. You understand? So for rent in Dijon, you may be looking at now for the rent, the accommodation, they measure it by square meters. You understand? So depending on the house, your kitchen, toilet, everything may be in the square meter that. So, but then you may be paying something like 300 euro for a studio per month, a studio apartment. When I say studio apartment, it doesn't have an extra room, but at least there's a demarcation that shows, okay, this is your bed, this is your toilet. So that's like a studio. Then if it has a room, it's one room, upwards. So for that, you may be paying 300. For something like that in Paris, the difference is that Paris could be smaller. It could be like a cupboard size studio. You understand? Like maybe your kitchen will just be this, maybe the size of this, my background. No, so I've not lived in an apartment in Paris, but I have friends who have showed me what it looks like.
Size.
Then another thing that helps your cost of living is living in the hostels. So there's an accommodation scheme called cruise.
Okay.
So cruise, even CAF covers cruise too. Okay, so cruise is 50 euro for example, for 1 month. Let's say 50 euro, but I don't know if it's a bit higher than that. I stayed in the hostel for a short while, like 2 months, 3 months. Yeah. So it's not that expensive. And then maybe CAF helps you with some of the money. So maybe at the end of the day, you end up paying like 10 euro. You understand that kind of stuff?
Yes.
So cruise accommodation, some cruise accommodations are more comfortable than some others. So the kitchen and the toilet and bathroom are outside your rooms, but at least you have your personal space where you can brush and do your laissez-faire before. But some cruise apartments have the toilets inside. I don't know if they have kitchen, but it depends. So, but at least the minimum that you as a student, if you're on a budget, can be comfortable in is very affordable. So when you are looking for your schools, check out their cruise accommodation. Now, for my school, the cruise accommodation was quite okay. It's within the campus. You understand? For some schools, like when I saw the cruise accommodation in Paris, it was in the city. It's a big house, like a big, very big, with hundreds of rooms in it. It was in the city. It wasn't attached to any school in particular. So maybe the cruise accommodation in your city may not be a close commute to your school. So, you also need to check these things out. But cruise is a very good example. It may not be rosy, like it may not be the neatest, but it's something.
Yeah, it's something. My next question would be the work permit. So in Japan, you have 28 hours per week for student visas. That's the permit, number of hours you're allowed to work. So how does it work in France? How many hours are you allowed to work in a week or in a month?
Let's say 6 hours a day.
Okay.
Say about 120 hours a month.
Okay.
Less thereabouts.
Okay.
That's not 9 to 5. Yeah. So, but the thing is, what kind of job are you looking for those hours? As a grad student, I actually thought that I could handle the two. And like I said, it depends. It really depends. And it depends on your skill. Okay. Like I know someone in tech, he's a grad student. He studied computer science in Nigeria. So his part-time job, like he could do one job that covers him very well. So it depends on your skill. If you don't have any in-demand skill, maybe you need to look for cleaning jobs. You need to consider the hours. For example, cleaning jobs may require you to be there very early in the morning, sometimes during the day, depending on where you're cleaning, public spaces, private spaces, depending, and then maybe at night. So you need to ask yourself, am I going to be able to clean, come to school, or leave some courses, go clean or go do whatever, or work at night and come to school the next day? So when you have your school planning and maybe your work, the place you got a job, has a proper structure, has a planning, maybe you can see what you can do. But language is key.
Yes.
It's not going to be easy for you to get such jobs without speaking the language, or maybe you get to know somebody that knows people who are into sourcing students that want this kind of job. Then maybe if you have religious affiliations, if you're Muslim, if you're Christian, you may find these communities. Then there are some, like I know a very strong Ghana group, for Ghanaians in my community. Like, I mean, the Ghanaians I know who have identified with their people, they often get these jobs. You understand? But it's not something you go see online. Like I have a friend who is studying in the UK, and she told me about this Indeed Flex.
Okay.
So Indeed Flex is like where you look for a job now, you get something you can do in the next 30 minutes, get the money. It's not really like that here in France. So you need to know the right people for that. Yeah, but you can be lucky. So I wrote a couple of applications for cleaning jobs. It's really funny writing a motivation letter. And you're like, I just want to clean.
I like cleaning.
I like cleaning, it's what I do. So sometimes these application processes are so bizarre, and I'm like, but then, like I said, my situation wasn't also easy because of the COVID. I mean,
yes.
When you enter a city during the lockdown, you don't even know what used to be open and what doesn't used to be open.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it took quite a while. At some point, I just said, you know what, live by the grace of God.
One day at a time.
So yeah, but that's it for us. If you're in a city where you get a job, you're allowed to work for about 220 hours per month.
Okay,
and then
roughly
you just
30 hours per week. Okay.
Yeah, so you just plan it and make sure you're not missing your studies for it.
So the next question would be, upon graduation, do people get visas that enable them to search for job? Like in Japan, when you graduate, I know they give you like a 6 months grace to search for jobs. They can give you a temporary visa that would make you job seek and all that. So is that available in France?
Yes, very much available. It's called the APS.
Okay.
So after you graduate, you get 1 year. After your studies, you need to apply for the APS. It doesn't come automatically.
Of course.
You need to apply for the APS. So it's APS allows you 1 year to find a job or to start a business. Or whichever one, it has to be in the area of your studies. You understand? So
Yes.
you don't finish a master's degree and then you go get a job as a cleaner. You understand?
Yeah.
Because if it's like that, then everybody can clean, you know? So if you don't have a master's degree and then you go get a job serving in the restaurant, no, these are maybe things you can do as a student. But for that APS, you are looking for jobs in the area of your master's. So if you studied an amazing course in your master's, maybe you're in tech, you know, the big courses that are in demand, it's also very necessary to study a course that is in demand. Then you have 1 year to find that job. So when you get that job, what you are looking forward to is the company I'm going to be working for, are they going to sponsor my visa? You still need to be sponsored. So some companies may want you may be a talent, some companies want, but if they don't have the capacity to to keep you visa wise, then it may not be your take, you get. Then, but some people, I've seen a couple more persons who started their businesses. So it's called a micro enterprise. Micro enterprise is like business name we have in Nigeria. So it's not a company. You can't start a company like that because there are differences, just like we have in Nigeria as well, business name and company registration. There's a differentiation of taxes, how many people should own it, what is the legal status, how many people are you employing, your insurances, all those stuff. If you have the money for this, by all means, you understand, if you have the money, if you have the guts, if you have the tenacity to learn these things and equip yourself by all means, if I have the money, I would. But then micro enterprise is something that you can open. It's one-man business. You don't employ people. There are also some restrictions, and you don't, once you start earning more than, is it 20,000 euro or 70,000 euro? Once your declarations are at a particular limit, you cannot be a micro enterprise anymore. You have to be a company. You understand? So, but the idea of a micro enterprise is that at least it should be able to pay you your SMIC. I don't know if it's SMIC or SMIC, but SMIC. So SMIC is your minimum wage. Okay. So your if your activity in your micro enterprise can at least every month or within a number of months, because when you are doing business, it's not maybe this month you have a lot of income, next month you don't have a lot, there are disparities. So, but if the totality, the perfect truth sees that, okay, this activity gives this person a comfortable SMIC, you understand? And SMIC is about 1,800 euros pari passu, something like that. So 1,800 euros. So you need to know your activity, and this activity must be in the area of the masters. These are very, very important. Like, you can't finish studying maybe a science-related course and then you're doing fashion. Okay, but there's a clause to this. I was corrected on this some time ago. I'm still not sure about it, but I was told that if you can also prove to the prefecture that you have been doing this, like let's say you sew in Nigeria, you had and then you come here and you study something, and then you want to carry on your business of sewing. It's not like it has to be in the area of your master's per se, but then if you can prove to the prefecture that this is what you've been doing, you've been earning money with this, you have to somehow prove it. Yes, so it's but for the job, it has to be in the area of the masters or thereabouts, and you justify that by how much you're being paid. The salary paid someone with a master's degree is not the same paid someone who doesn't have a diploma at all. So when you're a master's holder, degree holder, and you're supposed to be paid like 3,000 euros, and then you're doing a job that pays you at most 1,800 euros, you see, it doesn't...
You're changing yourself.
Yes, exactly. So, but you know, some people can find that as rosy. I mean, if you even got a job at all, you understand? And then maybe you don't want to go back, you know, something like that. Yeah. So, but those are important. So that APS lasts for 1 year.
Okay.
And after you've settled, okay, let's say you start a business after that 1 year, then you need to prove at the prefecture. After 1 year of running your business, you need to show them your taxes, your receipts, your invoices. You need to always justify what you claim. You claim this business is settling me, so show us all your documents, you know. So for your job to, that one is easier. You just need to furnish your pay slip, and so from there you get into the system.
Okay.
So I think it's very good way. You have 1 year to sort these things out.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's very nice.
yeah.
Okay, so to round this up, my last question would be, what are the common mistakes or helpful tips and advice that you have for prospective applicants?
Okay. So to France, the thing I would say, like I said earlier, do you speak the language? It's important. I mean, I don't, and it wasn't easy for me. So, I mean, I think there's someone that called me once. She wanted to know how she can, you know, study in France. When I told her about the language, do you speak? Oh, she already knew. No. I'm not gonna do this. You understand? So I think it saved her making that mistake of thinking that all is going to be somewhat rosy. You understand? So depending on your aim, don't try coming to France if you don't speak the language, or maybe you don't know some whereabouts. Don't try coming to France to work and support your studies from, you know, it's not a good plan. It's not a good plan. You have to be prepared financially for it. You have to be prepared to also learn the language, you know. Yeah, so that's one. And I don't know, I think this is a life choice at the end of the day. But when you're leaving Nigeria, when you're leaving your home country to another country, I think most times we are looking for greener pastures. And by greener pastures, we are looking about job opportunities and stuff. So if you're going to go by way of studying, make sure you're studying something that is in demand. You know,
exactly.
It's very important, because then you go to study something that, okay, yes, it's your passion. I mean, I'm all about passion too, but if there's no demand for it, you end up going back, you know, especially if that's not your goal, you understand? Or it's either you do that, or you find yourself going through another journey of self-discovery in your environment to find, you know, what can I do? How am I going to be useful here? So it's also important. So you need to plan, you need to have a plan in mind.
Okay.
Yes, so I think these two basically, but then really trust your guts. I did. I mean, I did trust my guts, and you know, I wouldn't say I don't regret a day of, you know, making these choices, but sometimes I'm like, maybe if I had waited and applied for this UK, I wouldn't have suffered all these things. But then you also hear the news of people who are in UK and how it's also not easy for them. Somehow you're okay with your course, you know? But yeah, just trust your guts and do it.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so guys, I hope you found this information useful, but I would like to state that we are not educational consultants, so please do your research. This is just based on personal experience. Do your research, arm yourself with much information. Thank God for the internet. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, hit the subscribe button, and share. Thank you very much, Mademoiselle Dara, for joining me. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.